Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Uncomfortable American History. I'm your host, Anthony, and let's get right to this. In the state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis wants the state to descend into intellectual and historical darkness. He hopes to achieve this by instituting what he deems anti-woke policies. These policies, in terms of our history, in terms of our intellectual development, are designed to whitewash, hide, and basically eliminate the history and the stories of people who have been marginalized, oppressed, and discriminated against, not only through Florida history, but through American history. And a partial list of the people that I'm talking about: blacks, LGBTQ, women, immigrants, and the list goes on. Now, DeSantis wants to institute these policies to protect white children. I don't know. What he is in essence saying is this: he doesn't want anything in our school systems to indoctrinate white children in order to make them feel bad about the past. A, that is ridiculous on its face. B, that's simply not true. That's not happening and has never happened in any school district in the state of Florida. Now, he's, meaning DeSantis, is politicizing history. Now, history should not be politicized, but there is a political history that Ron DeSantis is choosing to ignore because I guess he believes it's helping him attain, the presidency of the United States. We're not really worried about that here. But what we are going to do is we're going to shine a light on what he hopes to avoid talking about. And that, in essence, in this episode is racism. Now, there were a bunch of books banned in the state of Florida, but I'm going to specifically talk about Duval County, Florida. Duval County, Florida, which is in Jacksonville and the birth city of one Ron DeSantis, banned a number of books. There's a children's book that we're going to mention today, and we're going to use that as the basis of this talk. That book is this: Henry Aaron's Dream. Can you see it there? By Matt Tavares. This book was temporarily banned in Duval County because it mentioned, wait for it, racism. Really? You're going to ban a children's book because it mentions racism? Well, unfortunately for you, Governor DeSantis, we're going to use this book to talk about racism as directed at a specific person. And yes, that person is Henry Aaron. Some might know him as Hank Aaron. He's the former baseball player who ended up breaking Babe Ruth's home run record, his total home run record of 714. Well, that's another story for another day. But what we are going to talk about is the fact that this book chronicles Henry Aaron's life from his birth in 1934 in Mobile, Alabama, to the year 1954, when he finally made the major leagues with the then Milwaukee Braves, who are now the Atlanta Braves. However, we today are going to speak about one specific year, and that year is 1953. Why 1953, you ask? We're glad to tell you. In 1953, Hank Aaron, who was 19 years old, he came to Jacksonville, Florida with two other men of color to break the color barrier in the South Atlantic Baseball League. The Baseball League did not have any black players until that year. Jacksonville and one other team placed black players on their squads for the first time. Now, we're going to talk about Henry Aaron because of this. While he played for the Jacksonville Braves in 1953 as a 19-year-old man, what are some of the things that Henry Aaron faced? Here's some examples. At his home stadium in the neighborhood of Durkeeville, which is a black neighborhood, of course, mostly white people came to see these games. And there was separate seating for black people because, yes, in 1953, Jacksonville was still deeply segregated. Remember, Brown versus Board of Education was 1954. So this was before then. Now, as this 19-year-old black man is taking the field, all he wants to do is play baseball. This is what he heard from the stands in Jacksonville, his home city at that time. He was called 8-ball, burrhead, the ever-present N-word. He received hate mail basically telling him, get out of town. And it got so bad that he received a letter that was referred to the FBI because someone wrote to him and told him, we're going to shoot you in the head with a rifle if you take your spot at second base tonight. The FBI came to the stadium and they were in the stands to ensure nothing happened to a 19-year-old black man who simply wanted to play baseball. But this children's book mentions racism. And to expand upon the conversation for a second, Henry Aaron faced racist taunts from not only the stands, but from opposing players. Something that we would not stand for today. But he had to keep his head down. And he had to keep going forward through all of this nonsense. But yet, Ron DeSantis doesn't want you to know about this. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So what we're going to do now is we're going to end this video. But also, if you like what you heard today, if you like the content, if you have any questions, at the bottom you can leave a comment. You could also reach us by email, and I'm also going to leave resources that you can look into yourself if you so desire, and you can further your conversation and or knowledge about this particular episode. So, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for your time and attention. And just remember this. The darkness that someone like DeSantis and his acolytes are trying to place upon us will not work. We are going to shed light. We are going to talk about these things. We are not going to let them be hidden. And always remember, teach truth. Thank you very much. Have a good day.